$3,000 a
J.J.
month for
Abrams mystery box.
SEO. Yeah, pay me $3,000 a month for SEO, and what are you gonna do? Oh, it's proprietary this, proprietary that. It's a mystery box, and then you'll get more traffic from Google, right? So it's the industry is full of that. Unfortunately, what you need to do to have successful SEO, you need to spend this many hours on this many hours on that, this many hours on that.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. Another week has passed and we have another episode of Leaders Talk ready for you. As usual, I'm Andrew Dupe, Chief Relationship Officer here at Leaders Press, and today I am very happy to have with us Alex Melen. So Alex is the co-founder of SmartSites, and he brings over 10 years of digital media experience with him today. Before SmartSites, he spent 3 years heading up the digital analytics on the Walmart account at Starcom MediaVest Group, SMG. In the late 1990s, Alex founded T35 Hosting. That was one of the first and largest free hosting providers for the web. Alex has been featured numerous times on Business Week, Forbes, other publications. Alex, we can go on, but I'll give the floor to you to actually tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, thank you for the intro, and happy to be here. Yes, I've been involved in the tech space for a long time. I think even the 10 years seems very light. I started my first company T35 Hosting back in '97, so that was like the mid 90s when people were dialing up to the internet with CompuServe before they were even using AOL.
I was there. I remember the sound.
Dialing up with the 14.4K modems, right? That for on the web hosting side, that was around the time of GeoCities, Hypermart, Tripod. So it was very early days of the internet. So been involved with the tech space since then in various capacities, and now run SmartSites along with my younger brother, full service digital agency. I've been doing that since 2011. So even that's been 12 years now. And full service agency, we have about almost 400 employees now, and are always one of the top growing, top rated digital agencies.
That's fascinating. That's actually a really fascinating way to come about it, because we have a lot of people that come on the podcast and they talk, and many of them have pivoted or they started a business that, in a crowded field. But man, you were there from the ground floor. So that was really like super virgin territory back in the 1990s with the beginning of the internet. How did you stand out in that period?
Yeah, very. It's been very interesting watching all of that happen, right? And even the early years, I remember there was a lot of reluctance for people to give the internet any value. And I remember even convinced. And at the time I was young, right? When I started my first company, I was 13 years old. So as a teenager, trying to convince adults and industry experts and really anyone that the internet's going to become huge, and this is really a phenomenon that's going to change the way the world works. It's very difficult, right? A lot of times I even had to question and be like, maybe I am wrong. Maybe this whole thing is going to go away, right? Because those were certainly the perceptions from a lot of people. So it's definitely been interesting seeing all develop before my eyes. The web hosting business I ran at one time, I grew to almost 1 million customers, right? Which at that time was a very big population of anyone who wanted a website on the internet. But it so quickly grew beyond anything that I was doing that it was very eye-opening for me. Even the hosting industry, within 12 months, I remember, went from something that I was very familiar with to something completely new, where my market share went from like 10% to like 1/100th of 1% within like 12-month period. So the amount of growth and change has been huge, and it's crazy to see how ingrained the internet and this whole space is in everything we do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were just sharing, ladies and gentlemen, before our call, that yesterday I was without internet for an entire day, and man, it was a fundamental change in life. It's like, oh my God, what do I do now? Everything that I do is completely connected. So thinking about that, and was it easier or harder for you to adapt with the catastrophic changes that came in the tech space and the internet space between 1997 and what's going to be 2027? I mean, it's a different world.
Yeah, for sure. So my hosting business, although still exists, it's nothing close to what it used to be, right? I can't even think of any free hosting companies that still exist, right? GeoCities got bought for Yahoo, I
Yeah.
think for like $1 billion, right? Yahoo wound up being sold years later itself for less than $1 billion. Hypermart Tripod, I think everyone's gone, right? The industry changed very quickly on the hosting side. But even on the digital side, and it continues to change. I would even say that the COVID years, the last 3 years, has been a huge amount of change also, almost as much as the 10 years before, in
Hmm.
terms of importance of digital and much more businesses realizing how much they need it, right? If you think about right, think pre-COVID, right? So 3, 4 years ago, not that long ago, there's still a lot of businesses that didn't really need a website or to market them online, right? Think of
Hmm.
restaurants, for example, or if you go to a mall, the stores that sell like jeans and shirts, right? There's no reason for them to be on the internet. With COVID, within a couple of months, restaurants very quickly had to pivot and realize they not only needed to have some kind of website, but they also needed all of a sudden to have a social media presence and to be doing marketing and to
Hmm.
provide their products in different ways. Otherwise, they go out of business, right? And same for the stores in the malls and everyone else. So I think digital continues to be more and more important.
Oh
And
yeah.
even in 2023 right now, when you think that every business is pretty much online, surprisingly, a lot still aren't. A lot still get by word of mouth and such, but I think that they're going to become a minority. And I think not only is digital and having online presence becoming more important, I think having a really succinct and very polished off online presence becomes very important, right? Your marketing,
Yeah.
messaging, colors, offers have to match the website, have to match your email marketing, right? Like things that people would really ignore 5, 10 years ago, and now they don't, right? If
Yeah.
you advertise something like you have like an ad that has some kind of promotion, right? 15% off, someone clicks the ad and they land on your homepage, it doesn't mention that promotion anymore at all, right? You're going to lose that customer. So I think more than ever, you really need to not only have online presence, but it has to be very polished off, because I think consumers, spoiled by Amazon and several other companies, really expect a fast experience. They really expect a frictionless experience, and they really expect everything to kind of match up, right? If all of a sudden you send the email marketing, like email blast, and the colors of there don't match your brand whatsoever, right? It's gonna catch them off guard and they're not gonna click it. So I think that's the direction we're moving into, that not only do you need to have a presence, you really have to make it a priority to really polish everything off, and you can't get by just half-assing it anymore. You really need
Right.
to make digital a big focus of your business, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm hearing that so often, especially post COVID. I mean, I think there was still I think there was still an attempt in business to do things the old traditional way before COVID. There were still ones that had their claws in and dug in,
Yeah.
that they're forced in COVID to reevaluate things. Because I keep hearing that now the old go out, knock on the doors, cold outreach, things like that are now being replaced by turning an internet presence into what's actually bringing people to your platforms. Do you see that as a change right now in the business world?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that'll continue to be the trend. I think that's where we're heading with all of this. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I think that's why people are, interestingly, there's the old joke from Ghostbusters. Egon Spangler said, "Print is dead." we're proving that's not true,
Yeah.
because now that's what we're finding is people are using writing and books to begin to now plug into that media presence as a vehicle to get people onto content you control. So you're thinking about you're entering that space right now as well, aren't you?
Yes, working on a book with you guys. Very, very excited about that. And yeah, I agree. I think it's helps build authority, right? And it, like you said, it's content you control, content and messaging you control.
Yeah. So what was your thought process on getting to a book? Because you're doing it now. You started in 1997. There's a big gap there of
Took a
building
while.
your knowledge base. So
Took a
why
while, took a
now?
while, took a while.
Yeah.
So as the company grew, there's two skill sets that I were always top of mind for me to work on for personal development. Public speaking was one of them, and writing a book
Mm.
was another. So both I've thought about doing for a while, and it took a little bit. It's public speaking is a good example because it's something people are usually very afraid of and not comfortable doing. Very
Yeah.
few people are naturally like love public speaking, and some people are, right? It's
Yeah, I know. I know that. I was a teacher for years. The very first thing I did was try out for school plays. I know,
oh, so
but I
there you
was right.
go.
I was an outlier.
There you go. So, so there's certainly people like that, but I think 9 out of 10 are the other extreme where
Yeah,
they just
I would agree.
don't. And it's something I kind of forced myself to do for personal development. And I think writing a book is similar. I think it's something that is top of mind for people, but it's very daunting, right? Public speaking is more, I think people are more afraid to do. With book writing, I think it's a little bit of that, but just very daunting. I think for a lot of people, they're like, I have all this knowledge and I really want to put it in a book to build authority or whatever, or for whatever the reason. But it's how do I go about it? It's such a daunting process, experience, and I think that's really what stops a lot of people. Even though when I talk to people, a lot of people, when I tell them I'm writing a book or I just wrote a book, they're like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do that too, right? People want to do it, but I'm like, oh, you should do it. Oh no, I don't even know where to start, right? That's usually what I get. So very interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, we hear that all the time, and that's just the thing. It's like it's something everybody wants to do. I don't think anybody can say, "Hey, would you not like to have a book?" And they're like, "Yeah, I don't want a book. I don't want to have anything to do with it." But yeah, it is absolutely daunting. So, how has getting help with Leaders Press helped you be able to actually turn that book into reality?
Yeah, so the you guys definitely help with the process. I think that's one thing that I could sit down and write content, right? I write quick, and now that I do a lot of public speaking, I have the content, I present it, right? It's
Mhm.
literally between my PowerPoint slides and my head, I have all the content, and I could get it all down.
Yeah,
But I don't have the process down, and I'm learning. Obviously, my first book, I'm learning the process as I go along, and surprisingly, there's a lot more that goes into it. And I know there's people that self-publish, right? They go and just write it and self-publish on Amazon. But I think there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of process that goes into it to have a very polished off and professional book. And I think in a lot of cases, the reason I didn't go the self-publishing route is because when I see all of those, in a lot of cases, it just seems like a not like I want like a like I don't want to half-ass it, right? If you're going to spend the
yeah,
time and you're going to spend the effort to write it and do all of it, you want it to like look and feel like a book, right? Especially
yeah.
with the self-publishing, a lot of times it's not even a physical book, right? But let's say even if they do a physical book, I think it's usually pretty easy to tell when you pick it up, a professional, well-polished off book from something that's self-published. And not to say there's wrong with self-publishing, as people do it and people that do it well, but for me, I wanted to make sure that I had all my ducks in a row, and I did the right, like even things like the book cover. So my company has a big design team, and I could certainly have them design the book cover, but I think there's a lot to be said for designing a book cover by someone, a company or a team that's all they do, right? They know the
Yeah.
book, right? My design team that
Exactly.
designs websites might design a good book cover, but it's just not their expertise. So it might be missing something or something in the wrong place, or right. So I've enjoyed the process. It's been a lot of learning for me about the whole book process, like anything else. It's something new for me, so it's a learning opportunity. But I've enjoyed the process, and I've learned a lot along the way. And I think I'm a couple weeks out now from it printing. So hopefully almost at the end of the process.
Excellent. Well, I like how, though, earlier in the interview when we began talking, you talked about how you have to integrate now your social media completely. You have to make sure that your branding is right, your colors are right, that your website looks like your email, looks like your swipe copy, all of that's connected. And that really becomes why you really want to have that first book done so well, isn't it? I mean, you're already thinking in that process when you're creating your book, from what I'm seeing here.
Yes, yes, yes. I think it has to, right. It has, you don't want to create something that you're not proud of. And
Mhm.
as opposed to a website or something online that you could go through iterations and improve, right? Once your book is out, and you could have iterations of your book, right? Updates to it. But once it's actually out, your original one that someone holds in their hand, you can't go back and like rephrase a sentence or reword a chapter, right? So yeah, I think it's important to have it, and not to say that I'm writing a book for the first time, I'm going to get everything right and everything's going to be polished off. Maybe by my second or third one will be better, but at the very least, you want to be put out something that A, you're proud of, B, accomplishes what you set out to accomplish, right? If your goal is to build authenticity or become a expert in the industry or in the space, you want to make sure that that's what it accomplishes. If you half-ass it and it sounds terrible and people on Amazon are saying this is the worst thing I've ever wrote, worst thing I ever read, it's going to be a little bit counterproductive.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly why you want to have your first one right, because then you'll just go back and do it again later if you don't have it right the first time, and you're back to square one.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds to me like you came at this with a really good plan, and that's actually one of the things that I know that we get asked a lot. People that say, "I want to write a book, I want to plug it in, but I don't know what to do with it afterwards." So, what's your why? What's your plan with
Yeah.
this? More than just having it, writing it, putting your authority down. Where are you heading with it?
Yeah, good question. So for me, we're SmartSites, we're industry agnostic. We work in every single industry. We're GSA certified. We worked on Harvard's website. We're literally in every industry. Me personally, I'm a very big automotive enthusiast. So I've been doing a lot in the automotive space. And the book I wrote is specifically search marketing, SEO, and pay-per-click for the automotive industry.
Mhm.
So along with obviously writing the book, and I've been doing a lot of public speaking in the space. So I'm already perceived as an authority in the space, but I think that will reinforce that perception. I think along with that, it could serve as a sale channel with for my agency specifically. We're very transparent with what we do, and I'm very transparent in the book with what we do. So literally in the book, I laid out, this is exactly how I would do your SEO pay-per-click. This is exactly what we do ourselves for clients. And the idea is that hopefully it'll educate people, right? That they'll see how to improve their search marketing. But more so, they might come to us, to my agency, and ask us to help them with stuff. So I think for us, obviously it helps build my authenticity and authority in the space, which is great. B, I think it'll help for sales, right? I don't plan to sell this book to make money. I'll price. We haven't gotten to pricing yet, but I could tell you right away, I'm not selling it to make money. I'm selling it to help educate people, and I'm selling it because I think ultimately it will drive sales for our business as people learn about the services and what we've done for other similar clients. They might come to us and ask for us to help them as well.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, once you begin to realize all the avenues that a book can open up for you, I mean, the ways in which you can create, revenue generation channels that didn't exist before. I mean, we did it ourselves. Leaders Press started just writing books and putting them out there, and opening those opportunities. So, is there an art to not giving away too much in the book so that you're leaving that door open for somebody to come in and engage you directly?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think there is, but I think I went on the extreme and just wrote everything that we do, and that's usually in the speaking I do. So the public speaking I do is usually very separate from the sales of our company. Like the events I speak at, we don't even exhibit at, or I don't bring the sales team. The events I speak at are purely educational, and I went with the same route with the book. If everyone wants to take all the knowledge I have in the auto space and all the things we've done over the last decade, more power to them. I have no issues with it. If they take it on and it's too much for them, I'm more than happy to help. I think ultimately in auto and every other industry, clients who run their own businesses, run their own dealerships, their best use of time will continue to be to run their business, right?
Right.
For a business owner to sit there and try to keep up with the latest in SEO techniques or latest in Google Ads, spend the 40 hours a week learning both and keeping up with both just doesn't make sense. If they want to do it, more power to them. I know people who work 100-hour weeks, right? And try to do everything themselves. I have no issue with that. I'm more than happy to help, to share everything I know with them. They need the help. They know where to find me for help. But yes, I think you're right. I think there's an art to sharing a little bit and get them hooked and have them come to you. I never learned that, and being a first-time writer, and I don't think I've read enough books to get that down enough. I think I just went straight up and just disclosed everything. But I think that's okay too. I think
It
that's
is. That's
okay too.
what, yeah. I'm fascinated by it, because that really, what that shows, again, that there's not necessarily a one size fits all to how you do it, and everybody has their unique approach and their unique way of going about it. Your approach is educational,
Yes.
and yeah, but that also, what you're telling our audience here is that even when you just go with a purely educational approach, you have avenues that works with, as long as you have the plan.
For sure. And I think it works in every industry. I think just because you're going purely educational doesn't mean you're not going to get value out of it and get business and sales out of it. I've personally have done that approach with all the speaking I've done, and some of the other, I've written a lot of articles for magazines and such. I always like that approach. I think too many people, especially in my world and in the agency digital world, probably more so on the SEO side, a lot of it's like very mystery, like pay me 3,000 a
JJ
month
Abrams
for
mystery
SEO.
box.
Yeah, pay me 3,000 a month for SEO, and what are you going to do? Oh, it's a proprietary this, proprietary that. It's a mystery box, and then you'll get more traffic from Google, right? So it's the industry is full of that. Unfortunately, the approach I take and SmartSites takes the agency is the complete opposite. We're very transparent with everything, and even the way we sell our services for SEO, we sell hours, right? So we say, similar to I have it in the book, this is what you need to do to have successful SEO. You need to spend this many hours on this many hours on that, this many hours on that. If you want us to do it, you literally pay us for the 50 hours a month or whatever, how much ever your budget is, and we'll do that for you. If you want to take on a piece yourself, perfect, go ahead. So that's the approach at least I've taken. I know it's at least in my world not so popular, but I have I think I have a lot of respect for people, especially writing books, who go the educational approach, right? I haven't read as many books as some other people out there, but I know there's a lot of books that are very salesy and pitchy, and I don't think that usually does well. I don't think that's what gets people interested in your services, in your products, in you. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm in complete agreement with it. I think that in my opinion, and I think you're agreeing with me here, we're appreciating transparency more, especially post COVID, because I mean, let's be frank, people just started screwing around.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just nowadays, like after all of that, let's just get to the point and get some stuff done. And that's why I think that, you know, what you're saying is that this now, the way that social media works, the way that the internet has become ubiquitous with our life, this is now how you have to operate, by being out there, by letting people know who you are.
Yeah. And I think even for those thinking about writing a book, I think that approach is even easier, right? Before, or let's say taking the opposite approach of I want to write a book to get sales, right? It requires a lot more thinking of how do I structure the book, like what do I tell them but don't tell them. As on the other side, the way I approached it, I have this information. This is what has been working for our clients. I just want to share it with other people. It's much easier to write a book, just literally putting your knowledge into it. Of course, going in, also still realizing what you want to accomplish with it, but still just writing like knowledge sharing. I think it's a lot easier. I think a lot of people out there have a lot of great knowledge, and oftentimes they don't share it. So putting it down in a book, I think even aside from, oh, I want to get this out of it and this out of it, just putting down your thoughts and your knowledge in a book, I think is something very powerful. And I think it's very useful for the writer as well. I personally learned a lot writing the book. As I was writing it, there's maybe 90% of the content I was very familiar with just because I speak about it. But still, as I'm writing it, as opposed to speaking, when I'm putting it on paper, I know it has to be factual. I know it can't be completely wrong. So it forced me to do some more research and restructure the way I think, and just putting it into chapters and sub-chapters and structuring really helped me in my head put together all of this information. And I think it was, even for myself, it's been very, very good experience writing the book.
Excellent. Well, that's what we like to hear. So as we're kind of wrapping up, do you have a title yet?
I have a title: Automotive Search Marketing. Nice and easy and descriptive. So it's literally search marketing for dealerships. So the title is Automotive Search Marketing. I think the subtitle was Dealership's Guide to Google.
Perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, the link to that should be down below for an order or pre-order. So Alex, how will if our audience wants to engage you directly, wants to seek you out, maybe do some business with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, great question. So our agency website is SmartSites.com. And then I have a personal website, alexmelen.com. It's literally my name, ALEXMELEN.com. And I have all my social media at the bottom there. I'm more than happy to connect on LinkedIn or whatever platform is convenient.
Perfect. Wonderful. All right. And those links, ladies and gentlemen, are also down below. Alex, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
We wish you the best of luck with your book, because your success is ours. So we're looking forward to having that in your readers' hands.
Perfect. Thank you.